Alright, let's get into it.
From the researchers who brought you a living human skin for robots, you remember the flesh thing. Yes, the cultured human skin cells that have been arranged into an oddly terrifying face, those researchers from Tokyo are moving into growing flesh for consumption. To be fair, the process that it takes to grow stem cells in humans is the exact same process that's used to grow consumable animal tissue, and in this case, they made chicken. There are a few problems when it comes to creating lab-grown meat, one of which is that they're grown in bioreactors, so you end up with individual cells, and they kind of end up being a ground meat that can be turned into something like a sausage. If you really want a juicy steak, you're going to have to make something that looks a lot more like a living animal before it gets turned into ground beef. Which is where the flesh thing comes in handy, because it is just tissue, and tissue can be vascularized. So if you want to create something that looks a whole lot more like something you could buy on the grocery store shelf, you're going to have to build it. Flesh thing came from this paper, by the way, and it could potentially be a living, growing, feeling skin that could interface with robots. It's not actually called the flesh thing, as something that I like to call it, so our researchers made something that looks a lot like a circulatory system for a slab of chicken. The result is something that looks far more like meat, and something that could actually come in potentially a steak, in this case a chicken steak. That may really not sound appetizing to you, but it's really not all that different from coming from an animal. There's just a lot less suffering involved, but it still makes a lot of people very uncomfortable. We do have a long way to go before we can create, say, a steak, because we also have to do things like create the fat, although we could potentially produce the absolutely perfect steak in a lab. Interestingly enough, we're also going to have to exercise it. If you've ever had store-bought chicken that, say, is grown to be really large, you're actually eating some atrophied muscle tissue, and you know the difference between gamey meat and store-bought meat that's been grown in a factory farm. Essentially, if we don't exercise it at all, or even if we don't have all of the tissues present, it's going to taste really weird. I'm really not against eating cultured meat. I do not see the problem. I understand that a lot of people just do not like the idea of it or think that it's unnatural, and that is reasonable. It is unnatural, I will give you that. I mean, come on, if I saw that walking down the street, I would probably never leave my house again.
I'm sorry, but lab-grown meat's just not for me. If my chicken looks like a bar of soap before it hits the frying pan, you can count me out. I will take a real steak over a science experiment any day. Now, if I had to live in a world where natural meat was not an option, and I still had access to vegetables and fruit, I would much rather eat a squash with some seasoning on it and pretend that it's a steak than whatever that is.
This crop circle just appeared in a UK field, and wait until you see what it looks like from the air. So the formation was reported on July 7th near Tidcombe in Wiltshire. It's roughly 230 or so feet across. Many crop circles rely on symmetry, things like symbols, sacred geometry, but this one almost creates this 3D illusion of motion. One interpretation is that the design encodes harmonic mathematics through 12 segments, golden ratio, scaling, and symbolic triads. But without precise geometric measurements, I mean, it's hard to say. It definitely does use sophisticated symmetry and optical illusion to create this impression of motion. I mean, it is cool. Now, I will note that some formations this year were confirmed to have been man-made for TV. Others are still unknown and debated on origin, but it is stunning craftsmanship no matter what. I mean, that's for sure.
Someone in the comments of this video actually makes a good point to point out that looks kind of like a Bluetooth logo. Not exactly, but now I kind of can't unsee it. Let me know your thoughts and opinions.
A new crop circle has appeared at Milk Hill in Wiltshire, and this is filled with mystery, sacred geometry and mathematics, and some historical significance as well. So let me run it through for you. This footage was captured by Stonehenge Dronescapes. Go check them out, link in description, but let's dive into it. Now let's look closer at the image itself. There's one large outer circle, a smaller central circle right in the heart, and 3 straight radial lines shooting out from the centre, and 3 smaller circles perfectly placed where those lines meet at the outer ring. Now the angles themselves are exactly 120 degrees apart, and this has a perfect 3-fold rotational symmetry, and if you spin it at 120 degrees it looks identical, and the 3 outer points form a clean equilateral triangle inside of the big circle itself. Now in sacred geometry, this circle represents wholeness, infinity, and the divine feminine and the universe itself, and the central point is the monad, the source, the one, pure consciousness. Now the 3 rays themselves, and that's one expressing itself into the many. me. And 3 is the number of creation and the first stable shape after the circle and the line. So think about the Trinity, the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit, or mind, body and spirit, or creation, preservation, destruction. And this design literally shows energy or light or information flowing from the center out in perfect balance. And the outer circle is containing it all, the field of manifestation itself. So it's a mandala of balanced creation. It's simple, but, incredibly powerful. And the numerology is pretty heavy in this one once again. The entire formation is built on 3. Creativity, self-expression, joy, communication, growth. And in numerology, 3 is the optimistic child energy that manifests ideas into this reality. And the 120 degrees reduces to 1 + 2 + 0 = 3 again, right? And the date that this appeared, on July 12, 2026, if you add it up, 7 + 1 + 2 + 2 + 0 + 2 + 6 = 20. 2. Balance, partnership and duality, and the threefold design brings perfect harmony to that 2 energy. So 2026 itself is 2 + 0 + 2 + 6, and that equals 10, which means 1, new beginnings, leadership, independence. And this one is number 18 in the 2026 season, and numbers like 18 reduced to 9, which means completion, wisdom, humanitarian awakening. Everything is lining up right now. So you thought that was crazy, now it gets a little bit stranger. We are currently in the year of the Fire Horse, a rare 60-year cycle, and fire brings passion, speed and transformation and raw energy. And the horse represents freedom, stamina and forward movement, adventure. And Fire Horse years are known for rapid change and big momentum. And where did this crop circle appear? Above the petroglyph at Milk Hill, the highest point in Wiltshire, and carved directly into the same hill just below it is Alton Barnes' White Horse, a giant chalk geoglyph from 1812. A literal white horse on the hill where a fiery new formation just landed in the year of the Fire Horse. And on the symbol itself, the radiating lines look kind of like flames or energy beams shooting outwards, and this is pure Fire Horse symbolism itself. So balance your 3 core aspects, the mind, body and spirit, and let creative fire move you forward without losing harmony. We're being reminded that the one source comes balance and creation, and it's time to step into that energy right now.
Man, it must be crop circle season, because this is the 3rd or 4th crop circle that's popped up within a week. Literally back to back now. And I'm still on the fence as to whether they're man-made or not. I feel like they are, but so many people say that that's so advanced that it just cannot be. And I personally myself have not gone out and tried to make a crop circle, so I don't know. It could be very difficult. And I mean, who knows? Maybe they're not even extraterrestrial. I've talked about this before, but a theory that I do have about crop circles is, what if deep underground there's some kind of ancient machine or some kind of ancient civilization down there that has something that's making that pattern develop on the surface? Who knows? One day we may get the truth. Hey, if you haven't done so already, and if you're enjoying the show, give it a like. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. I upload a video like this Monday through Friday, early in the morning, and sometimes an extra one later in the afternoon. And for everyone that's made it this far, thank you so much for supporting the channel.
I got a really good glitch in the Matrix video, and it's kinda unexplainable. So it's a video I saw online with this guy, Andrew Tate, where he's walking in a casino. I'm gonna show you a clip from that video, but you gotta look behind him. Okay, here we go. So there's Andrew Tate, but look behind him, above my head, in the background. Did you see it? Look behind him. Do you see it? Did you notice anything? Now that was pretty quick, and you could have missed it, so I took a couple screenshots. Do you see it now? Look behind him, to the left of the screen. I circled it. That guy doesn't have a head. That guy does not have a head. And it's not just like that in one frame. It's in the whole video. The guy behind Andrew Tate does not have a head. Look above me. That's a person without a head. So unless people are going without heads now, still living and walking around, then this is some kind of glitch in the Matrix. Because there's something not normal here with the guy in the background. So let me know your opinion.
I guess you could say he had his head in the game.
I just want to share something because I think it's, I don't know how to take it. Yeah. So after my nan passed away on Saturday, my partner, she was like, hey, I don't know how to explain this, but I smelt your nan last night. I don't know what it was. She texted me, actually. I'll show you the text. And so I read that and I'm like, that's incredible. Sorry, I keep losing my train of thought here. So I've had those dreams before where like you get visited by a family member and then you wake up to find out that they passed away. But today I was driving for work, and as I was driving, completely like open area where I always drive, and I had my work colleague in the car with me as well. I didn't say anything, but I was completely overwhelmed by the smell of my nan's room, by the smell of the room where Nan had been living at the care home. And it's a distinct smell that is only associated with that room. Like, it is the scent of my Nan. It is the scent of the room where she was staying in. And I know that smell so well because I was there every day last week. So it was so fresh, and it just encumbered my entire vehicle. It was like the only thing I could smell. And my work colleague, sorry, he didn't say anything about it. He didn't mention, do you smell that? Nothing like that. It was like only I could smell it, and he would have mentioned it because it's such a distinct, separate smell from what the vehicle smells like and the area we were in. And I don't know, like, I'm somebody that dives into the paranormal and strange things, and you know, like, I just think it wouldn't be right. Like, I tell all of these things and I tell people to believe, and I tell people there is more out there all the time, and I'm just gonna come out and say it, that I think Nan was just letting me know, like, hey, I'm here. I got you. Like, I'm here, Marcus. You're alright.
Rest in peace to your Nan, Oz. I'm sure she's in a much better place. And I've known a few people, specifically my grandfather, when his mother passed away, for months, he could smell her perfume in his home. And she barely ever came over to his house. But once she passed, he could just smell her perfume all of the time. And then there was my uncle. He said if he ever passed away before any of us, and he was talking to his brothers and sisters, of course, he said to have your rifles ready within a week after he passes, because he's going to run 15 or 20 buck out of the woods so that there would be plenty of food for the family. I know that sounds a little odd, but you know, when you live up north, there's a lot of hunting that goes on because people gather the meat for the winter. And unfortunately, my uncle did pass away due to some very extreme circumstances. And sure enough, within a week, it wasn't just bucks, of course, it was mostly doe, but there was more than 20 or 30 deer that just ran across the field in my grandfather's yard and into the woods. I mean, what was that? Was that coincidence? That's never happened before. And also, with the same uncle, I did not receive the news when he passed away. I was just a child. And at the time when he passed away, I was living in South Carolina with my parents. I had no clue as to why we were going to Michigan. I just knew that everyone was kind of sad, and we were just going to Michigan. Well, we stopped at a hotel, and by we, it was my mom and my grandma. That night in that hotel, I could not sleep very well. And I'm pretty certain I've told this story before on this channel, but I just could not sleep very well. And I was laying in bed with my grandma. It was a hotel room that had 2 beds in it. My mom was laying in one bed, my grandma was in the other, and I was laying with my grandmother. And I remember looking at the hotel door, and I could see a little bit of mist or fog rolling underneath it. And I mean, maybe I was dreaming, but that mist rose out from under the door, it manifested into my uncle, and it started waving at me, and then it went into the AC vent. And I remember waking my grandmother up and saying, Grandma, my uncle, and I don't want to say his name, my uncle waved goodbye to me. And she was upset at me because she thought I was joking around. And when my mother woke up, she was upset at my grandmother because she was upset at me because I just did not know. I had no clue my uncle passed away. So what was that? There has to be some kind of spiritual realm or some kind of presence of the afterlife for these anomalies to happen, I would think, because it happens to so many people, not just Oz, not just me, not just my grandfather, I'm sure you watching have also had your own experiences. Please feel free to share. That means that there has to be something to it. It can't just be, they were so deeply ingrained into your memory that you're experiencing these things. When there's people that experience things that have no knowledge of why they're experiencing them. I don't know. I don't want to rant too much on it because I've already ranted enough. But again, Oz, rest in peace to your Nan. And hopefully you're satisfied with the notion that she's always with you.
Here's more things I want to know. I want to know about the North Pole. Unlike the South Pole, which is protected by the Antarctic Treaty, with multiple countries involved to protect it, take care of it, and oversee it, the North Pole is owned by nobody. And also, it's not a continent. The North Pole is just floating sea ice floating over the ocean, and it's international waters, not sovereign territory of any nation. Apparently there's no off-limit areas. It's just very, very hard to get to, brutally remote. It's dark half the year. It's covered in shifting ice, which makes it naturally inaccessible rather than legally forbidden. But Russia, the US, Canada, Denmark, and Norway all want a piece of it. I'm sure some other people do too. These 5 Arctic nations are racing to claim extended continental shelves underneath it, since the seabeds are believed to hold massive untapped oil, gas, and mineral reserves. Ah yes, it's about the money. Russia planted a flag on the seafloor in 2007, 14,000 feet down, via submersible to symbolically stake a claim to the seabed. But it has no legal weight under international law, but it sure made headlines worldwide. Ah, very nice. The magnetic North Pole isn't the same as the geographic North Pole, and it's been drifting really fast, moving from Canada towards Siberia at an unusual speed. And this is something that scientists don't fully understand. We like the mysteries. Of course, there's military activity up there, but not really on the North Pole since it's shifting. Russia just reopened a Soviet-era Arctic base and is building new ones all along its coastline. The US, Canada, and NATO allies conduct Arctic military exercises all the time. This activity centers on surrounding territory and not the pole itself. So they say. Anyone who reaches the North Pole is standing on drifting sea ice. I never knew this in school. I thought there was some form of land there. Sometimes that ice is only a few feet thick and it's above 14,000 feet of ocean water. So with shifting ice masses, climate changing, trade routes are shifting all the time to go around and through the ice, which is why part of the military posturing is so important to these nations. Who will have the power? We know it's about the money. Time zones don't really apply here. All lines of longitude and latitude converge at the pole. So technically, every time zone exists simultaneously, and clocks are meaningless at true north, which is very interesting. Can we do some time travel up here? I want to know. So apparently satellites have mapped all of it, and there's no mystery about the North Pole. They've even mapped the ocean floor with sonar. Apparently there's no region of the North Pole that is not geographically or visually known in the way, say, deep ocean trenches are. But the seafloor below the North Pole is the last frontier, not the North Pole itself. The Arctic Ocean floor, especially ridge lines like the Lomonosov Ridge, has been mapped in detail by Russia, Canada, and Danish survey missions, mostly to support territorial claims. But full high-resolution 3D mapping of every square inch isn't fully complete. That's supposedly the only part that's unexplored. But what I want to know is when you're going 14,000 feet down and you're the only country or countries that has the capability to go down there and see what's below the surface at that depth and level, I want to know what you're finding down there. I want to know how amazing it is, and I want to know what secrets they're never going to tell us. I don't know. But I want to know. But what I really want to know, it's absolutely time for us to know who on that list is going to jail first in America.
They've mapped the ocean floor, tracked the shifting ice, measured the magnetic pole, and somehow know it's 14,000 feet below the surface. But yet we're supposed to believe that there's nothing really interesting to talk about. I'm really curious on how much the scientific research costs taxpayers on that one. And trust me, I know that the North Pole is not funded by taxpayers, but when countries send out scientists to do research, that's when the tax dollar gets involved. Let me know what you guys think about the North Pole and what could possibly be going on there.
This is real NASA solar footage, and for years a massive black triangle object has been sitting right next to our sun. And this isn't one photo, it's years of images from NASA's solar observatories, and they've been put together by researchers. And this object was captured hanging out by our sun from the years of 2019 to 2022. Now the object stays visible and keeps its triangular form across all of the frames. Now on screen is the Earth scale, as you can see in the top right, and it's the globe icon. If the object is near the sun, around 1 astronomical unit away, it would be a moon-sized object or even larger. Now there are other exaggerating estimates that kind of push it towards 20 times the size of Earth itself, but even conservative estimates make it pretty big. Now, a black triangle is one of the most reported UFO shapes worldwide, and I've even witnessed a few of them myself back in the day, around 2014. And this one is allegedly huge, and this is right next to our star itself. And there's one characteristic here that people are missing: the object is presenting as cool and dark despite the sun's extreme heat. And with multiple filters present here, it stays dark even when it's skimming the sun's corona. So if it's going to be my own personal estimates, if it's near the sun, I'd probably say it's the size of the moon or even bigger. So if we look at the object closer, it seems perfectly triangular. It doesn't glow and it doesn't burn up. And there's researchers who say they found that it's been documented across multiple NASA cameras for over a year straight in some periods. So once again, black triangles aren't new. They're massive silent triangular craft, and they've been reported for decades. And sometimes they can be size of football fields, sometimes estimated between city-sized, and some people link them to military tech like the rumored TR-3B. Now this one hanging out near the sun, could this just be some sort of space debris, or could this be some unidentified observation platform, or something even bigger even watching us?
Very interesting. I've not heard of this one. I have heard of the orb that's approached the sun and sucked the solar from it, but this one I'm not familiar with. Again, if it's NASA, you never know if it's true or not, but I do like to theorize, and what if that's not harvesting energy from the sun, or it's a ship? What if it's some kind of protection device and it's keeping something from coming out of the sun? Maybe like some kind of ancient containment device and there's some monstrous beast that's just within the sun. And also maybe the reason why we're able to see it now is because it's failing. Man, theories are fun.
Hello friends, let's talk about the Steve Jobs effect. Everybody in the world, including you, can now be Steve Jobs in this way. And it has to do with AI and mastering AI. Check it out. Steve Jobs back in his heyday was grilled by so many people, especially his peers. People would bash him because he wasn't a true engineer or designer or programmer. And he didn't even go to college. He dropped out. He didn't even pick a major. And they would be like, dude, like, you're not a designer. You're not an engineer. You're not a programmer. How are you one of the richest people in the world? And how are you running Apple, which was this innovative, legendary technology company that was rivaling Bill Gates and Microsoft? And people didn't think he was qualified because he didn't have the degrees and all the certifications. And they'd be like, you're not a designer, you're not a programmer, where do you get off? And he'd be like, dude, that guy over there is an amazing designer. That woman over there is an amazing programmer. That team right there that I assembled are the best designers, programmers, engineers in the entire world. He's like, why would I need to learn all those things, all those skill sets that all these people have that I aggregated? Why would I need to waste my time learning that? I am the conductor of the orchestra, and each one of those people sits in a seat in a row that I put there, and they play their instrument to perfection, and I have the vision and I orchestrate the grand design. Now, he went on to change the world, and you can too, and here's how. With AI, you no longer have to learn all of these individual things, but AI will always need the human, the conscious observer. It'll always need the vision and the mind of the human being. We are very creative. And when you formulate the vision, and you learn how to master AI and have it become the specialist of whatever you need. Do you need a designer? Do you need a programmer? Do you need a coder? Do you need an accountant? Do you need a doctor? What do you need? AI can do that, and it's getting better by the day. And when you adopt the Steve Jobs mentality, where you need to have a kind of a working understanding, which Steve Jobs did, of all these different modalities, but you don't need to be an expert in any of them. What you need to be an expert in is being a human, being a leader, being able to clearly communicate your vision, and being the conductor of your orchestra, and realizing that AI can now be every single person in your team, every single person in your organization, every single person in that orchestra. AI can be. You no longer need a team. You can be a business of one. You can be a billionaire running a business of one once you learn how to master AI, and once you learn how to adopt the Steve Jobs mindset. You know what? Most rocket scientists never go to space. They build the rockets, and astronauts go to space. So you don't need to learn everything, okay? Now, once you do this, the sky's the limit. Imagine if Steve Jobs was alive today. Let me know your thoughts on this. Have a beautiful day.
I get what he is saying, and I agree with some of it. AI is actually an incredible tool to have, and if you learn how to use it well, you can absolutely do the work of a whole team. But here's where I start to disagree. If everyone becomes a business of one, and AI replaces an entire team, who's left to buy the products and service that makes those business billions of dollars? If millions of people are out of work because of AI and or outperformed, where does the economy go from there? Because if everyone loses a job because of AI, there's no money to circulate the market. And if everyone uses AI to become their own business owner of one, then there's no money to be made in the market because no one's spending the money for your product because they are spending money for their own product. It just seems like a lose-lose because eventually everyone's going to be out of a job and no money's going to be circulating amongst all of these one-owner businesses. People will have to start hiring people so that those people can get paid to purchase product so money starts circulating again. And now guess what? Business is back to normal or business as usual. I really do not find it about what AI can do. It's really about the long-term consequences of everyone doing it. If your AI business replaces 100 jobs, are you creating new opportunities for those people, or are you just another boss of one? That's where I think the mindset starts to fall apart. In theory, it does sound really good. You become a super wealthy person, you encourage other people to become super wealthy people by doing their own AI thing, but once everyone is out of a job because you have all the teams that you need through AI and or everyone is becoming their own boss of one, how is money going to be made, you know? If you have the answer to that, please let me know in the comments or make a video response because I really would like to know what your thoughts and opinions on that would be now that you have my perspective of it.
California was just hit by 2 major earthquakes in the same area, back-to-back days on the same fault line. Yeah, the same fault line that causes a lot of these earthquakes. And it kind of corresponds with a prediction that some scientists and geologists had lately. The first earthquake happened on Sunday, a 4.1 magnitude, right there, just south of Bakersfield. The second was today, a 4.3 magnitude earthquake, just east of Bakersfield. And like I said, these are near or on the same fault line. And this kind of connects to a story I read a little over a week ago, that geologists and scientists are predicting the possibility of a megaquake to hit that area of California, the biggest quake in 1,000 years. Now that doesn't mean it's gonna happen, but when you get back-to-back earthquakes in the same area, near the same fault line, on consecutive days, it really makes you think if something is up, if something is going on.
Well, hopefully everyone in that area is doing okay. I have never really been through an earthquake, so I really do not know how severe they are when it gets to that level of magnitude, but I can imagine it's still not pleasant. We need to tell all these elites to stop digging holes underground because that's probably where these earthquakes are actually coming from.
A couple of hunters in South Texas witnessed a strange metallic object flying against the wind in the middle of some mountainous terrain.
We were about to pick up the last dog when there it was. Best I could tell, it was nearly a mile out and moving fast against the wind. Glistening in the sun, it kind of looked like it was made of aluminum, but it was trucking pretty fast.
What is that? I don't know what it is. I have no idea what that is, but it's freaky looking, whatever it is.
Now, we have the eyewitness account of these objects, or this object in particular, flying against the wind, and again it's seen in an area of natural beauty, and if you've been following this subject with these strange metallic type structures, which even the Department of War are even sharing openly now in the public domain, They show up and behave in very peculiar ways, but this could be some of the, maybe the fabled jellyfish type UAP, or it could be something completely different we don't quite understand, or even secret military tech that we are unaware of. And this footage was shot by Tim Wells Bowhunter on YouTube, so if you want to go check it out yourself and look at the extended clips of this, it's pretty interesting, and another piece of the puzzle to add into this mix of whatever is going on right now and whatever is being released of the truly unexplained. So yeah.
Skeptics would say it's a star-shaped balloon. I may be one of them.
CERN just shut down the Large Hadron Collider until 2030, and now the cornucopia is back. So on June 29th, the LHC was shut down for a 4-year-long upgrade, but people online are already saying that reality feels different. Ever since the shutdown, I'm seeing people say that time is starting to feel normal again instead of being stuck on fast forward. Others say they feel like a weight has lifted. Their senses are sharper, the sky is clearer, they're finally getting restful sleep and dreaming again, they're not waking up with headaches, and even some with a constant ringing in their ears has suddenly stopped. Now leave a comment if you've experienced any of this, because apparently a lot of people are noticing it, including me. But what actually is CERN and what is the LHC? Well, CERN is the European Organization for Nuclear Research, founded in 1954, based near Geneva on the Swiss-French border. The Large Hadron Collider is the world's largest particle accelerator, a roughly 17-mile underground loop where physicists smash particles together near the speed of light to study and find out the true nature of reality and discover things like the Higgs boson or God particle. Before the LHC was first fired up in 2008, there were a lot of people online worried that it was going to create something like a black hole that would destroy the Earth. It didn't, but the weird part is that after they first turned it on, a lot of people say that reality started feeling off. People said time started to feel faster, and the world in general kept getting stranger and more chaotic. This was also around the time when the Mandela effect seemed to start, and people have speculated that somehow CERN has caused this and made us to jump into different timelines, and that's why people are remembering things differently. And here's something else interesting. Every few years, the LHC enters a major shutdown for repairs or upgrades, and shortly after, strange or global events seem to follow. Most notably, the first time it was shut down was right after the first tests, and the global financial crisis of 2008 happened. And the last time it shut down, well, that happened right before the pandemic started in 2020. Now, I'm not saying that CERN caused any of this, but when you run the world's largest particle accelerator, trying to crack open the secrets of the universe while also doing mock rituals like this on your campus at night, people are going to start to ask questions. Now, what is this new shutdown for? Well, they're shutting it down until 2030 to upgrade it to the high luminosity LHC, which is said to be 10 times more powerful. Now, it's probably all just coincidence, and that cornucopia image, well, I ran it through a few AI detectors and got mixed results, so who knows exactly, but if the last decade is any indication, we might be in for a wild ride when they turn the LHC back on.
Well, it has been over a week now since they have shut down. I personally have not noticed any difference whatsoever in my life as far as time or anything really. Pretty much everything is the same. Though I do live very, very far away from CERN, so maybe the locals of that area are experiencing things differently. Please, if you are experiencing anything different since the shutdown, let me know in the comments. I am very curious about what conspiracies are going to arise from this and what's going to happen when they turn that machine back on. But who knows, maybe with this machine shut down for a while, things will start balancing out and we can get back to normal. But 2030 is right around the corner, so if it does calm down, hopefully it's a nice break. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and end today's video. I want to thank you guys for watching these clips with me. As usual, I feel happy, I feel healthy, I'm doing my best, and if today's your birthday, happy birthday. And if not, have a good day anyways.